Good morning, our indispensable AV team up there. Good morning to those of you out there in the pews and who are tuning in to us online. Good morning to our choir. Good morning to, where's Elizabeth?
She's on vacation.
Good morning, Elizabeth, wherever you are. And good morning to Alicia, our wonderful pianist. Who'd I forget? Good morning to Paul.
Don't start, Jack.
Good morning to Paul Amaru, who is one of our long-time esteemed members. Thank you, Paul, for organizing this morning's service. Should be a winner, especially if it's in the hands of Paul. So we're glad you're here. I want to welcome again everyone to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Vero Beach, which we shorten to say UUFVB, just because it's a whole lot easier to say. And I want to welcome all of you again, just as you come to us today. Welcome. My name is Jack Stiefel, and I'll serve as your pulpit host this morning. And my pronouns are he, him, and his. And for those of you who may not be able to see me clearly, I'm an older guy with gray hair and glasses, no facial hair except for a couple of bushy eyebrows, and I'm wearing a light-colored shirt and a blue and gold stole. And that I'm wearing this morning in solidarity with the people of Ukraine. Everybody know what this is? Sure, a red mug. And if you've just started visiting us, we invite you to follow the crowd at the conclusion of the service to our fellowship hall, just down the hall, and join us there for some beverages, snacks, and some conversation. And please take a red mug there. These are important and special, not only because they hold that magical elixir of UU coffee, but because they're also special because they help us to find you and give you a special UU welcome. Now you're going to notice in your order of service this morning that Paul has granted me the privilege of giving a testimonial. Now to me, that's a big word for saying what is meaningful and gratifying about being a member of UUFVB. I frequently hear people around here say, I love being here because it's really gratifying. I'm with like-minded people. And I agree with that. But there's something about our fellowship that impresses me even more than our shared values. We extend our caring, our concern, our love to the broader community. At this point, I gotta go to page 2. Here we go. Some of us call that extending our concerns to the broader community social justice outreach. Think about it a second. Here at UUFVB, there's sharing of sustenance that supports the local food pantry. There's soup for shut-ins, transitional meals program. There's the Initiative for Reproductive Rights, who reach out to women in need. There's the Sunday Fund that assists community organizations to address a bevy of human needs. And the list just keeps going on and on. And I thank each of you who support these efforts. And yes, before I forget, there is an outreach effort going on right now that is a really frontmost burner right now. If you look into your order of service, you will see an insert that I just dropped on the floor. Do you notice that flyer? That tells you about our congregation's effort to provide aid to immigrant farm worker families in Fellsmere. How many of you have been to Fellsmere? A lot of hands, but not everybody. You know, it's west of the interstate, so it's not likely that you've traveled through or by Fellsmere, but it is part of our community. It's the center of the immigrant population here in Indian River County, and it has some monster needs. The fear fear that is being experienced by the immigrant population in the current political climate is almost beyond our capability to imagine and to empathize with. Many there are afraid to even go to the grocery store. So hunger is rampant. So our effort to provide food for immigrants is drastically needed. Some of you noticed the flyer in last week's order of service. And how do I know that? Because I spent a half an hour with my wife this morning out there in the hot, humid air unloading boxes, and that was a welcome thing for us to do. You guys, one of our core values is generosity, and you suit that to a T. This morning there is an amazing amount of food that you've already brought in, and I want to thank you for each and every one of you who brought in food this morning or earlier in the week. And if you did not bring food this morning, you're going to have a second chance, because next week the second collection of food will be held. We'll have more empty boxes. And every day between now and next Sunday, there'll be a bin right outside the front entrance that you can bring food to if you happen to be here during the week. So thank you again for reaching out to the immigrant community with your contribution of the foods that are listed on the back of the insert. And I know most of you who brought food looked at that list, because there's canola oil, and there's rice, and there's beans, and there's a type of corn flour that I can't even pronounce. Well, yes, I can try. Masika corn flour, a special kind of corn flour that's used in their yummy tortillas that they make. So thank you again for reaching out to the immigrant community, and please take along your insert with you this morning in case you didn't bring food. There's nothing wrong with bringing it a second weekend too. So if you want to get some more food and you just happen to find the Masika flour in the Mexican food sections of Walmart or Publix or wherever you go shopping, Winn-Dixie, you might pick up some more of that and bring it in. Anyway, anything else you bring in will be most welcome, and we'll try to conclude that program next Sunday. So we're going to have a lot to deliver tomorrow and next week after the service. Now, for a change, I'm going to ask you to not think outside the box, think inside the box. Let's get these boxes filled up and help with the problem of hunger in Fellsmere. Now, there are other important announcements in your order of service that'll help you keep informed. So please check those carefully, read through them, take the bulletin home, and have that available to read during the week. And you will notice that there was a testimonial that was unattributed, although my name was right on the next line, so that's why I took advantage of that and presented this testimonial to you this morning. But double your pleasure, double your fun. There's a second testimonial this morning. Kathy Casa will be speaking to us on behalf of the stewardship program. Kathy.
You're harder to follow.
Absolutely.
Good morning. My name is Kathy Casa. This message is going to be part testimonial and part pledge update and part plea. So I just want to tell you a little bit about our story. 11 years ago, right now, Ron and I came here for the first time. On April 18th, 11 years ago next month, we became members of UUFVB, and so began our journey and our hope to find a spiritual home. As soon as we became members, we got involved. We brought our time and talent to this fellowship so that we could pay back for what we have received in life and so that we could give more. So we got involved in ushering for the Emerson Center. We got involved in covenant groups. We attended circle dinners. I even hosted my first one, and I'll never forget. I called a friend of mine from Port St. Lucie, and I said, Judy, I said, is this a paper plate? And plastic kind of occasion? She said, oh, no, Kathy. She said, you bring out your best, and you set a beautiful table. And so I did. We also got involved in some of the mini-series of adult faith development. So we got involved right away. And then we realized that not only were we going to be giving our time, but we had talent to give too. So the next thing I did, with Ron's incredible blessing, was to run for the Board of Trustees. And that was a 6-year journey. First, I served as trustee at large and got to know what was going on. Second year, VP, and for the next 4 years as your president. And that was through 3 ministers, COVID-19, and a great deal of change in our world. And it was, the last 4 years were some of the most gratifying and fulfilling of my life. I've said this before, and I really mean it. Currently, because of vacancies and so forth, I am chair of the Finance Committee. Now, the Finance Committee is the committee that makes up the budget for each coming year. So we have a stewardship drive every spring, and we started her off with a wonderful brunch this year and some accelerated giving of pledges, because we handed out the pledge cards just before the luncheon. As of now, we have about 160 membership units, so households, so to speak. We have 2/3 of those pledge cards already in, which is fabulous, honestly. But there's 1/3 that are not in yet. And I don't know what to say to you except to make a strong plea to please bring in your pledge cards. You can bring them in any day that the office is open. You can bring them in on a Sunday. There's a box in the office for you to put them in. We need to have the whole picture. We need to know about your commitment. Let me go back to how much you should give. When we first joined, and it was the same thing, you signed your name and you made a pledge. We didn't have any idea what we were expected to give, all right? And I remember we asked a few people, how much do people normally give? And we never got any answer. So because giving has a lot to do with what you're getting and what you're giving of your time and talent. So we came up with a mildly generous amount of money, and we pledged that. And as we became more involved and realized how important this group of people is in our lives, this is our solace, then we began to give more until we got to the point where we were increasing every year. Not by large amounts, but usually if the stewardship chair says, please give, if you can, 3% over what you gave last year, that means that our budget needs it. We have created a budget for the 25-26 fiscal year, which begins on July 1, and I'm going to tell you something, there's no fat in that budget. So we really need to have you turn in your pledge and to be as generous as possible. A lot of people procrastinate. That's one of my qualities too. But I'm going to ask you, please, get these pledge cards in. Let's get them in, get your commitment in, so that all of us who are involved in finances can give it a little bit of a rest and get on with the good things that happen here at UUFVB. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathy. Now, I think all of you know what we do just before the service begins. But just in case, I'm going to ask you to take your phones and electronic devices out of your pockets, out of your purses, and please turn them on. Oh, no. It says here, turn them off. Yes, thank you. And now let's begin our service. That was a joke, Kathy. Sorry, did I lose you on that one? Everybody turn off your devices. Thank you. Now for the introit.
And furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honeybees and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. I'd like to see the world for once, all standing hand in hand, and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land. La 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 I'd like to build the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honeybees and snow white turtle doves. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company. I'd like to see the world for once, all standing hand in hand, and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I'd like to hold it in my arms and keep it company.
Okay? Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Paul Amaru. The opening words from Robert Fulghum. There are places we all come from, deep, rooty, common places that makes us who we are, and we disdain them or treat them lightly at our peril. We turn our backs on them at the risk of self-contempt. There is a sense in which we need to go home again and can go home again, not to recover home, no, but to sanctify the memory. And now the chalice lighting.
Join me now in the reading of the chalice lighting words projected up front. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has come to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us.
Thank you. You got it.
Now it's time for our story for all ages, and it's my pleasure to introduce Annalie Graper. Come and read for us, Annalie.
Once upon a time in ancient China, there was an emperor who loved flowers more than anything else in the world. His palace was surrounded by magnificent gardens filled with the rarest and most beautiful plants. As he grew old, the emperor began to think about his successor. Unlike other rulers, he had no children, and so he decided to choose from among the children of the kingdom. One spring day, he invited all the young people of the land to come to the palace. He announced, "The time has come for me to choose the next emperor. I have a collection of flower seeds here. I will give one seed to each of you. The person who can show me their best in a year will succeed me as an emperor." Excitement buzzed through the crowd as seeds were handed out. Among those who received a seed was a young boy named Shen. Known throughout his village for his green thumb, with great excitement, Shen planted his seed in a pot filled with rich soil. He watered it every day and made sure it got plenty of sunlight. Weeks passed, but nothing sprouted from Shen's pot. Not a single shoot peeked out from the dark soil. Around the village, Shen heard tales of others' pots overflowing with vibrant flowers. Embarrassed, he tried changing the soil and adjusting the amount of light and water, but nothing worked. A year passed, and Shen's pot still held soil. Finally, the day came to present the pots to the emperor. Holding his empty pot, Shen was nervous. All around him, children wriggled, whispered, and giggled, showing off their pots filled with stunning flowers of all colors. Shen felt tears sting in his eyes. His father, seeing his distress, said gently, "You did your best, and your best is good enough to present to the emperor." With a heavy heart, Shen walked into the palace. When his turn came, he bowed and presented his empty pot. The emperor's brows rose in surprise. "Why is your pot empty?" he asked. Shen swallowed hard and answered, "I planted the seed you gave me and tended to it every day, but it never sprouted." The emperor nodded, then turned to the crowd. "I have made my decision," he declared. "The new emperor will be Shen." A gasp went through the crowd. Shen was astonished. But my pot is empty," he stammered. The emperor smiled and said, "I gave everyone boiled seeds, which would not grow. All of you, except Shen, have brought me with pots with flowers. If you planted the seeds I gave you, they could have not grown. Shen was the only one honest enough to present me with an empty pot." The court erupted into applause as the truth sank in. The emperor continued, "A great leader must have courage, integrity, and honesty. Shen demonstrated these qualities by being truthful, despite the temptation to pretend otherwise. Shen became emperor and ruled wisely. Under his reign, the kingdom prospered. He always kept the empty pot on his desk, reminding him and his advisors that honesty and integrity should be at the heart of all their actions."
Let us sing our children out to their classes. As you journey, as you... I admire Annalee's courage to stand up here and speak before a crowd like this, even though she knows everybody here loves her. So now's the time where we're going to greet each other. There are many of you here who already know each other, but there are some who don't. So I'm going to ask you to stand today and shake hands and say, "Welcome, good morning, thank you very much." Let us... Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you all. Good to see you all. How's your wife? She's feeling okay. She's just very...
This is the time in our service when we focus on our joys and sorrows, our gifts and our needs. Before us are bowls of water. Water, the very sustenance of life. Water buoys us up. It nourishes us. It cleanses us and replenishes us. It is the source of life, which creates beauty, and also the making of tears. In this community, like water, we sustain each other. This is especially true when we buoy each other up in times of sadness, when we nourish one another in times of want, cleanse one another with acts of kindness and generosity, and replenish one another when our hearts are weary and worn. Paul has added some salt to the water for the tears that have fallen in the past week. Let us remember that there are some of us in pain. Let us be tender with one another, for we really don't know what is held in the silent sanctuary of each other's hearts. But the tears that have fallen from our eyes over the past week may also include tears of joy and laughter. For those sublime moments when we were touched by the bounty and beauty of nature, by a hug or a smile, by a caring act of friendship, Paul has added some flower petals to remind us of the joy and the beauty that surrounds us. Now, if you would like to add a pebble of your own for a joy or sorrow to our collective bowl, I invite you to come forward, but first, if you'd like Paul to place a pebble for you, please raise your hand now. Now, I invite you to come forward at this time and place a pebble in the water if that is meaningful for you. May all that we have to offer each other keep us connected and blessed within this hour and within the week ahead. So now it's time in our service when we express our gratitude and commitment by sharing our financial resources. To contribute to the fellowship, place your offering in an envelope from the back of the pews, or you can donate to UUFEB by clicking on the QR code with your phone. But our offering today also serves another purpose, that of supporting an organization that addresses the needs of the underserved in our community. That is the purpose of our Sunday Fund, one of our congregation's major social justice outreach efforts. Today's Sunday Fund recipient is the Pelican Island Audubon Society. The loose cash you place in the offering basket this morning will go to the Audubon Society, or you can use the QR code to direct your offering to them as well. The Pelican Island Audubon Society preserves and protects the environment, the natural environment in Indian River County through education, advocacy, and public awareness. At-risk children get to experience the Indian River Lagoon and the natural environment while receiving educational materials and healthy food in a safe place all year long. So now as we receive the offering, let's do so generously and gratefully.
You got it? Okay. I'd like to introduce the 4 members of our congregation who are going to deliver our message today. Mark O'Brien and Maggie Wainwright, would you please come forward? Sounds like, what's the game show? But here they come. Come on down. Yeah, that's it. Come on down. This couple are reconstituted, genuine 1970s hippies. They met in the Boston area, and they found our UU here 3 years ago and are happy to find a spiritual home. Mark romanced a redhead, raised 2 daughters, spent 30 years between Boston and Portland, Oregon, in an ashram. He wound up in Florida, found Maggie again, and the rest is history. He also sings in the choir. And now, Andrea and Branton Shearer, come on down. Oh, yeah. Andrea and Branton Shearer are snowbirds from Kent, Ohio. They have been here since 2019 and are delighted to find a blue home here in ruddy Florida. Andrea had a career as a professional dancer and a director of the Kent State Dance Program for 40 years. Branton was never churched till he met UU. He pretends that he is retired from being a neuropsychologist, but he continues to get emails from previous clients around the world. Both are deeply involved in the workings of our fellowship. These 4 members will help present today's message. How many of you have read All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten? It was published in 1988 and was in the New York Times bestseller list for 2 years. His second book, It Was on Fire When I Laid Down on It, was published the following year, and it reached number 2 on the list the same time as All I Needed was number 1. He was born in Texas in 1937. He's 88 years old, I should say 88 years young, and still active and vital. He's been a painter, a sculptor, a singing cowboy. He was a salesman for IBM, a ranch hand. He played in a rock and roll band, and he's a Unitarian Universalist minister. Today, we want to share some of the wit and wisdom of Robert Fulghum from some of his works. Some of the things we say you have heard before, and some may be new to you. They follow no particular theme, but they tell us a great deal about what it means to be human and good. Robert Fulghum wrote, "Most of what I really need to know about how to live and what to do and how to be, I learned in kindergarten. Wisdom was not on the top of the graduate school mountain, but there in the sand pile at Sunday school. These are the things I learned."
Share everything. Play fair. Don't hit people. Say you're sorry when you hurt somebody.
Put things back where you found them. Clean up your mess. Don't take things that are not yours.
Wash your hands before you eat. Flush. Warm cookies and cold milk are good for you.
Live a balanced life. Learn some, think some, and draw and paint and sing and dance and play and work every day some. Take a nap every afternoon.
And when you go out into the world, watch out for traffic, hold hands, and stick together. Be aware of wonder, and remember the little seed in the styrofoam cup. The roots go down, and the plant goes up. And nobody really knows how or why, but we are all like that.
Goldfish and hamsters and white mice and even the little seed in the styrofoam cup, they all die. so do we.
Ever seen an abacus? Millions of people in Asia still use them daily. They will last a lifetime. They will never need updating. All the software needed to drive them is right between your ears. And if they break, they can be fixed by an 8-year-old with simple tools.
We're all a little weird, and life is a little weird. And when we find someone whose weirdness is compatible with ours, we join up with them and fall into mutually satisfying weirdness and call it love, true love.
I believe that imagination is stronger than knowledge, that myth is more potent than history, that dreams are more powerful than facts, that hope always triumphs over experience, that laughter is the only cure for grief. And I believe that love is stronger than death.
Without realizing it, we fill important places in each other's life. It's that way with the guy at the grocery store, the mechanic at the garage, the family doctor, teachers, neighbors, co-workers, good people who are always there, who can be relied upon in small and important ways, people who teach us, who bless us, encourage us, support us, uplift us in the dailiness of life. We never tell them, I don't know why, but we don't.
You may never have proof of your importance, but you are more important than you think. There are always those who you couldn't do without you. The rub is that you don't always know who they are.
In this day, in this time of darkness, despair, uncertainty, and continuing disillusionment in everything, we need this as our mantra.
Some things in life are bad. They can really make you mad. Other things just make you swear and curse. When you're chewing on life's gristle, don't grumble, give a whistle. And this'll help things turn out for the best. And always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the bright side of life. When life seems jolly rotten, there's something you've forgotten, and that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing. Hee hee! If you're feeling in the dumps, don't be silly chumps. Just purse your lips and whistle, that's the thing! And always look on the bright side of life. Come on, sing along! Always look on the bright side of life. You know you can do it. Always look on the bright side of life. What have you got to lose? Always look on the bright side of life.
Richard, we're going to interrupt you for a second.
Mark.
Mark, sorry. This stuff's too good for everybody to miss, so lean way into your microphone so we can really hear you, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yay!
Robert Fulghum wrote, "There is something missing when there is no Sabbath act of any kind in my life. No Rosh Hashanah, no Easter sunrise, not even much of a Sunday anymore."
We live in a world where it is thought great progress that stores are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is a sign of entrepreneurial industry to work on weekends. I need more than a read through of the Sunday paper to feel like I've attended a Sabbath ritual.
If I don't have time to live my life well this first time, when am I going to find time to go back and live it over?
I know what I really want for Christmas. I want my childhood back. Nobody's going to give that. I might give at least the memory of it to myself if I try. I know it doesn't make sense, but since when is Christmas about sense anyway? It's about a child of long ago and far away, and it is about the child of now in you and me, waiting behind the door of our hearts for something wonderful to happen. A child who is impractical, unrealistic, simple-minded, and terribly vulnerable to joy. It's harder to talk about, but what I really, really, really want for Christmas is just this. I want to be 5 years old again for an hour. I want to laugh a lot. I want to be picked up or rocked to sleep in someone's arms and carried up to bed just one more time. I know what I really want for Christmas. I want my childhood back.
It doesn't matter what you say you believe. It only matters what you do.
Don't worry that your children never listen to you. Worry that they're always watching you.
Think what a better world it would be if we all, the whole world, had cookies and milk about 3 o'clock every afternoon, and then lay down with our blankets for a nap. And it is still true, no matter how old you are, when you go out into the world, it is best to hold hands and stick together.
Every person passing through this life unknowingly leaves something and takes something away. Most of this something cannot be seen or numbered or scientifically detected or counted. It's what we leave in the minds of other people and what they leave in ours, memory. The census doesn't count it. Nothing counts without it.
One of life's best coping mechanisms is to know the difference between an inconvenience and a problem. If you break your neck, if you have nothing to eat, if your house is on fire, then you have a problem. Everything else is inconvenience. Life is inconvenient. Life is lumpy. A lump in the oatmeal, a lump in the throat, and a lump in the breast are not the same kind of lump. One needs to know the difference.
Above all, if what you've done is stupid, but it works, it isn't stupid.
If you tell people you talk to God, they'll think you're religious. If you tell people God talks to you, it's 10 to 1, they'll think you're crazy.
The small creature is alive and looks for adventure. There's the drain pipe, a long tunnel going up towards some light. The spider doesn't even think about it, it just goes. Disaster befalls it. Rain, flood, powerful forces. And the spider is knocked down and out beyond where it started. Does the spider say, well, to hell with that? No. The sun comes out, clears things up, dries off the spider, and the small creature goes over to the drain pipe and looks up and thinks it really wants to know what is up there.
I often say, I don't worry about the meaning of life. I can't handle the big things like that. What concerns me is the meaning in life. Day by day, hour by hour, while I'm doing whatever it is I do. What counts is not what I do, but how I feel about myself while I'm doing it.
I do not want to know what you will hope for. I want to know what you will work for. I do not want your sympathy for the needs of humanity. I want your muscle. As the wagon driver said when they came to a long, hard hill, them that's going on with us, get out and push. Them that ain't, get out of the way.
And sure, I know, if you eat this way, you'll die. So, if you don't eat this, you're still going to die. I'd rather die happy.
Liberation, I guess, is everybody getting what they think they want without knowing the whole truth. In other words, liberation finally amounts to being free from the things that we don't like in order to be enslaved by the things that we approve of.
Making a living and having a life are not the same thing. Making a living and making a life that's worthwhile are not the same thing. Living the good life and having a good life are not the same thing.
Never, ever regret or apologize for believing that when one man or one woman decides to risk addressing the world with truth, the world may stop what it is doing and hear. There is too much evidence to the contrary.
But it does no good, solves nothing, to distance myself from the front lines of human need by using the mail as a safe shelter. I believe that serving the best ends of humanity means getting out in the middle of it just as it is, not staying home, writing checks, and thinking hopeful thoughts. The world does not need tourists who ride by in a bus clucking their tongues. The world as it is needs those who will love it enough to change it with what they have, where they are. And you're damned right that's idealistic. No apology. When idealism goes into the trash as junk mail, we're finished.
Robert Fulghum wrote, "There is a Buddhist monk teaching story in which the monk encounters a man who has spent his life looking for truth and beauty. Have you found what you're looking for?" he asks. "No," replies the man. "Wonderful," the monk responds. "What do you mean by saying my unfulfilled search is wonderful?" demands the truth seeker. The monk replies, "I mean, you still have something to look forward to."
Robert Fulghum wrote, "Remember in the Bible, Genesis chapter 19, Jehovah decided to destroy the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah for their wicked ways and of their world. But he spared the life of a man called Lot and his wife and 2 daughters. They were good folks. Jehovah told them to run for their lives to the mountains, but above all, do not look back. As they ran for it, Lot's wife paused and looked back anyhow."
We don't know her name, we only know what she did. She looked back, and Jehovah punished her by turning her into a pillar of salt. Now, I've known that story since I was a kid. I didn't understand it then, and I don't understand it now. And I don't know anybody who does. I should say, I don't understand the part about Jehovah turning her into a pillar of salt for looking back. What I do understand is her looking back. I would have looked back too. My guess is many of us would have turned around to see where we came from for the same reasons: curiosity, nostalgia, compassion, and above all, regret. How sad that the only way Jehovah knew to handle human failure was by unredeeming destruction. The deity doesn't come off too well here to set much of an example, frankly.
Robert Fulghum also wrote about a Kansas pioneer, Dr. Brewster M. Higley VII. Despite the hardships of his life, he found time to sit on a stump in the sunshine in front of his cabin, in the silence of that place, and write poetry about open country, clear skies, and the great joy of feeling home at last. Fulghum said the song that Higley wrote is one song you're likely to know by heart, and that millions and millions of people all over the world could sing it with you. People who have never seen Kansas, or buffalo, or deer, or antelope, but who understand what the word home means and who are tired of discouraging word and who yearn for clear blue skies and a fine day away from the endless traffic of our lives.
Yay. Anyone here never heard that tune? Of course not. I never heard the second verse. This reminds me of a story. A couple of cowboys out on the range come upon a herd of buffalo out there. And the one cowboy goes, let's see what rides down to look at the buffalo. These are talking buffaloes, by the way. And he looks at the buffalo and he says to his buddy, have you ever seen anything so ugly in your life? Look at how dirty they are and how funny looking. Such a huge head and such little legs. How do they ever get around? And his partner says, you're absolutely right. And they turn and walk away or drive away. And the one buffalo looks at his friends and he says, you know, I think I just heard a discouraging word. I've been waiting to tell that joke since I first heard it a while ago. Thank you.
when seeing boys choosing up sides to play basketball, leaving a kid with glasses on the sidelines. His name was Coach Price. He must have had a first name, but an athletic director of junior high school sports teams are forever coach. He was also team manager, team doctor, referee, bus driver, mother and father to boys between 11 and 13. Half too young to remove their underpants in the locker room, and half old enough to proudly wear their jock straps on their heads in the shower. Mr. Price may have been the coach, but hormones ran the team. One year, he finally had a basketball team with promise. 5 eighth graders whose height and skill and intelligence had arrived early and settled down enough to make team play possible.
And then there was the kid, the youngest member of the class, deranged by puberty and legally blind without his glasses. He could hardly see the basket, or the ball, or the players of either team. The kid did have his virtues. For one thing, he was determined to play basketball. He was fast, and when he dribbled down the court, he had the erratic, unpredictable moves of a jackrabbit in full flight. On the negative side, he seemed dyslexic in the face of diagram plays, reliably doing the opposite of any play devised. In short, he brought chaos to the court. And not even in practice did he ever put a ball through the hoop. He didn't care. He came to play. At the varsity squad was trimmed of the truly inept, the kid remained. He would not quit. And to the surprise of all, the coach did not cut him from the team because the coach had a crazy idea.
For one thing, there were only 10 players left. Without the kid, the team could not practice. Even more important, the coach began to see the kid as a secret weapon. If inserted into a game when the opposing team was on a roll, the kid might completely disrupt the flow of play. The coach thought that in a close game, the kid would be a living, breathing, fire-eating, psych-out, one-man myopic mayhem. In the kindest terms, Coach Price explained these matters to the kid, and the team promised the kid he would award him a letter and a letterman's jacket if he would stay the season, whether he played or not. "I need you. The team needs you," said the coach. And that was more than enough for the kid. Alas, he only practiced. He never played. The team won without him, and that was enough for him to know that at any moment the coach might say, "Take off your glasses, go in and drive them crazy."
The kid erupted off the bench like a gladiator. He was probably not the first or the last weird kid from a place in the career of Coach Price. The man had a gift for turning a loser into a winner. He had a gift for getting a team to appreciate oddball players. And he had a sense of humor. Many stories like this one could be told of the coach, but it's the only one I know. This is not a story about basketball. This is a story about teaching, about the imagination it takes to respect kids. It's about finding a place on the team for the least of them. The story is not even true, not in the documentary sense. The story belongs to the coach, but I was not the coach. And since it is told from his point of view, it can only be a faithful surmise. But I am certain of the truth of the long-lasting effects of the story. I was the kid.
Children are not pets. The life they actually live and the life you perceive them to be living are not the same life. Don't take what your children do too seriously.
Don't keep scorecards on them. A short memory is useful. Dirt and mess are a breeding ground for well-being. Stay out of their rooms after puberty. Stay out of their friendships and their love life unless invited in.
Don't worry that they never listen to you. Worry that they are always watching you. Learn from them. They have much to teach you. Love them long and let them go early.
Finally, you will never know what kind of parent you were, or if you did the right or the wrong thing. And you will worry about this and them as long as you live. But when your children have children, and you watch them do what they do, you will have part of your answer.
Dance. If you join the dancing, you will feel foolish, so why not dance? And I'll tell you a secret. If you dance, we'll think well of you because you tried. If you dance badly to begin with, what's the sin in that? We will laugh. We'll begin there.
Is it on? Yeah. Ask a kindergarten class. How many of you can draw and all hands shoot up?
Yes,
Of
Of
course.
course
We can draw all of us.
What can you draw?
Anything.
Anything.
How about a dog eating a fire truck in a jungle?
Sure.
Sure.
How big do you want it?
How many of you can sing? All hands?
Of
course
we
we
can
sing.
sing.
What can you sing?
Anything.
Anything.
What if you don't know the words?
No
No
problem.
problem. We'll
make
make
them
them
up.
up. Let's
Let's
sing.
sing.
Now?
Why
Why
not?
not?
How many of you dance? Unanimous again. What kind of music do you like to dance to?
Any
Anything.
kind.
Let's dance.
Now?
Sure.
Why
Why
not?
not?
Do you like to act in plays?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you play musical instruments?
Yes.
Do you write poetry?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you read and write and count?
Yes. We're learning
Learning
that
that
stuff
stuff
now.
now.
Their answer is yes, over and over again. Yes, the children are confident in spirit, infinite in resources, and eager to learn. Everything is still possible. Try these same questions on a college audience. A small percentage of students will raise their hands. Not infrequently, those who do raise their hands will want to qualify their response with their limitations.
I only play the piano.
I only draw horses.
I only dance to rock and roll.
I only sing in the shower.
When asked why the limitations, college students answer that they do not have talent, are not majoring in the subject, or have not done any of those things since about third grade. Or worse, that they are embarrassed for others to see them sing or dance or act. You can imagine the response to the questions asked of an older audience. The answer is no, none of them sing. What went wrong between kindergarten and college and adulthood? What happened to yes?
Sing out loud, sing out strong, sing of good things, not bad. Sing of happy, not sad. Sing a song, make it simple to last your whole life long.
hear. Just sing a song. La 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 Sing a song, sing out loud, sing out strong, sing of good things, not bad, sing of happy, not sad, sing a song, make it simple to last your whole life long. Don't worry that it's not good enough for anyone else to hear. Just sing a song. In closing, members and friends of this congregation, we are tangled up with one another in a unique fabric called the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Vero Beach. We call ourselves a religious community, not because this place is in itself holy ground, but because what we do here and say here and laugh and cry and think here makes it so. We hope you found something here that will sustain you, give you comfort, and give you a smile till we gather again. And please join us in Fellowship Hall for Oreo cookies and milk.
Thank you.